What if I told you that you've been building your character wrong, not because of your gear, but because of what you don't know about Diablo 4's hidden systems? Critical hits, cooldowns, lucky hit, they don't work the way you think. These 8 hidden mechanics change everything in Diablo 4, and once you understand them, your build and your damage will never be the same. 8 hidden mechanics. Lucky hit, not what you think. Lucky hit not equal proc chance. Each skill has its own base lucky hit rate, so when you equip plus 60% lucky hit gear, a skill with a base lucky hit rate of 20%, for example, actually only gets a 12% proc chance. This is something that many players overlook. What is the most important information? When the lucky hit rate exceeds 100%, your luck does not increase. The proc is guaranteed. However, in some mechanics, especially in certain aspects or the effects of unique items, if the lucky hit exceeds 100%, you gain extra bonus damage. For example, some lucky hit effects provide higher damage scaling at values above 100%. Some unique items provide additional effects or increased proc frequency when lucky hit is 110% plus. Tip: stacking lucky hit is most efficient in skills with a high base lucky hit rate. Chain lightning, bone splinters, barrage, etc. If you can exceed 100%, check if it serves an extra damage-providing build. Most of the time, the answer is yes. Cooldown Reduction, the soft cap trap. There is a soft cap in Cooldown Reduction. The maximum percentage you can achieve with gear is 75%. Remember, each source must be multiplied separately. 10% plus 10% plus 10% does not equal 30%, but rather approximately 27.1% cooldown reduction. Additionally, some items don't apply to everything. For example, an affix for evasion only reduces the cooldown of evasion, not ultimate or basic abilities. Therefore, it's critical to pay attention to where the CDR from each source is applied. Additionally, some skills have minimum cooldown durations. For example, teleport has a minimum cooldown of 1.4 seconds. No matter how much you add, it won't decrease further. You can find a video of me doing this with a teleport sorcerer on the channel. Damage buckets. Additive versus multiplicative. All damage bonuses are not equal. Additive bonuses, like plus X% to close enemies, stack together. Multiplicative bonuses, like vulnerable crit damage, are applied after that stack. Tip: prioritize multiplicative buckets for huge power spikes. Crowd control, the hidden damage multiplier. When enemies are CC'd, stunned, frozen, knocked down, they take bonus damage from many passives and aspects. Tip: stun plus burst equals massive crit windows. Pair with control glyphs or enchanter's aspect. Critical strike chance. Scaling falls off. Critical strike chance is not as simple a statistic as it seems. While high rates sound great, their effectiveness quickly declines due to internal diminishing returns. Fact: a crit chance close to 100% is not necessary for every build. For most builds, a crit chance of 40 to 45% is considered the ideal threshold. From this point on, investing in crit damage becomes more logical and efficient. But be careful, crit chance on gear doesn't tell the whole story. Crit chance does not only come from gear. The nodes you select on the Paragon board can provide bonuses such as dexterity or crit chance against nearby enemies. Passives on the skill tree can provide crit chance in certain situations. For example, plus 5% crit chance when hitting slowed enemies. Some legendary aspects or glyphs also directly increase critical chance or critical effect. There are even temporary buffs. For example, you can gain critical chance temporarily while berserking is active or through lucky hit. Therefore, even if crit appears low on gear, the total crit chance may actually be as high as 60 to 70%, or even 100% in some cases. Some builds require 100% crit chance. Builds that use rapid hit high-frequency skills, e.g., bone splinters, flurry, barrage abilities that scale directly with crit damage, or some passive or legendary effects that trigger on crit, e.g., crit on core skill grants plus X resource. For these builds, a crit chance close to 100% is critical. Summary recommendation: if your crit chance is already above 40 to 45%, focus on crit damage. However, if the build is crit-based and the bonuses work on crit, you can aim to increase crit chance to the 80 to 100% range. You should evaluate the actual crit rate based on the total combination, not just the gear. Movement speed cap, and why you hit it. You can't stack movement speed endlessly. There's a soft cap, not 200%, from gear, aspects, via glyphs. Tip: use blink teleport, shadow step type mobility instead of chasing raw percent speed. Damage reduction stacking, not what you expect. Damage reduction does not accumulate in a straightforward manner. Damage reduction values from different sources are multiplied together rather than added together. What does this mean? For example, going from 10% to 20% makes you much more resilient. But going from 50% to 60% does not make as much of a difference, because each new source is added with a multiplier effect on top of the previous ones. That's why it makes the most sense to build damage reduction in layers. So general damage reduction isn't enough. You also need to add damage reduction against elite enemies, distant enemies, or enemies under control effects. The more different situations you have damage reduction for, the stronger your character will be. Core stats more than meets the eye. In the game, strength, dexterity, intelligence, and willpower are not just numbers. In fact, these stats affect your character much more than you might think, both visibly and invisibly. Let's start with the general effects. Each stat provides some common bonuses for all classes. Strength grants extra armor per point. This makes you more resistant to physical damage. Dexterity increases your dodge chance. The higher it is, the more often you'll evade attacks. Intelligence provides resistance against all elements. Willpower increases the amount of healing you receive. However, the real difference lies in class-specific effects. Each class has its own primary stat, which directly increases your damage. For example, for Sorcerer and Necromancer, Intelligence equals more skill damage. For Rogue, Dexterity equals both evasion and high damage. Barbarian, fueled by strength. For Druid, Willpower provides the most contribution. So, let me give an example. If you're playing a Sorcerer, plus 100 Intelligence directly gives you both more spell damage and resistance. But the same Intelligence isn't as effective for a Rogue. Therefore, investing in the wrong stats can lead to significant performance loss in the long run. Summary: know your main stat and prioritize it. Other stats are important too, but they are secondary. Pay special attention to stat selection on the Paragon board. With the wrong setup, you won't even be able to use half of your potential. This topic is actually much deeper and more detailed, but I will cover it in the upcoming video on how to build a Paragon.
And that's it.
You've just learned the secrets that most Diablo 4 players miss. These hidden mechanics, they separate casuals from elites. If this helped you, hit like, drop a comment with your favorite hidden trick, and subscribe for more. Goodbye!